See those women outside the car laughing? They're probably laughing at the women inside the car because they've both got the seats jammed against the dashboard, much like mine was at the weekend. And as the title shows, this hopefully is a guide on at least unjamming or even better repairing your stuck seat. It is quite straightforward, but you will need some screwdrivers, a socket set, a Dremel with a cutting wheel for steel, and a drill with an 8mm steel bit. The reason for posting this video is that I couldn't find anything on the net at all with releasing seats or trying to at least diagnose a problem I had. Ironically, the car's 1 week or just over a week out of warranty. But if you want to take this on, just take your time and use some common sense. You're going to be cutting and all sorts in a confined space. Okay, without further ado, me ranting on, I'll just show you how to at least get this plastic trim off to see what you're doing. If you jack the seat up as high as it'll go first, and then lift the handle, you'll see a little release clip there, and inside there's a steel arm and a little slider plate. Dead easy to remove, and that's the start. On the right of that handle, at the very front of the seat, on the plastic trim, there's a clip. You could be able to reach around and remove that, no problem. The biggest pain to get this trim off is at the back, where the adjuster to tilt the seat forward and backwards is. That is a pain. That is it removed. Just 2 screwdrivers down the side. That will prise off. But at the back of the plastic trim, you'll see a little tiny plastic rivet, and that is a pain to remove. I end up snapping it, but to be honest, I've put the seat back together and it doesn't budge, it doesn't squeak or creak. That one there, it is a pain. I end up snapping it, like I say, but it just doesn't cause you any problems after. You could put another screw back in there, but I didn't need to. It also hooks onto that black metal rail you can see that runs along the seat. There's the front clip. But yeah, that black rail slips into the sleeve at the top as well. So once you've got that, you shouldn't be breaking anything really. That plastic popper, well, I wasn't really going to lose any sleep over that, and again, it's not causing me any problems. It was tight to put on regardless. Now this is the mechanism, that's the pain that's caused me some problems. And what it is, it's made up of 4 bolts, sprung loaded. You don't need to disassemble these mechanisms. There's one either side of the runners, but I've had to take it apart to work out what's going on. That's one of the 4 bolts that are on either side of the track, and they drop in and sink into the rail that's attached to the floor pan. Now my seat is now jammed. I can't move it forward or backwards, and it's hooked, should I say, on 4 press riveted steel bolts. I've removed them before obviously making this little clip. I looked at unscrewing parts, I looked at removing bolts out of the seat, trying to not make too much damage, but I ain't gave up and bit the bullet. Be careful when you do this, you've got sparks everywhere. I was constantly checking, there was nothing on fire, nothing was getting too hot, there was no smoke or anything. Just take your time, like I say at the start, with a bit of patience, it's not too bad. Once you've got the front 2 out, you don't need to do any more. This is all you need to do, because you should be able to then get access to where you need to be. That is the height adjustment arm, so that needs to remain flexible when you put this back together. The rivets or the screws or the bolts that you're going to put back in are going to have to be able to move a little bit. I looked at removing these bolts on point 2 now, but it didn't give me any flexibility, or didn't actually help in any way. So I thought at the time, bugger, I should have gone for that, but I couldn't actually get in there either. There was no room to unscrew them from the centre console side. So that's ideally the way you want to be. I got carried away and took out one of the rear bolts, but that was a mistake. I didn't need to do that. And again, I'm just showing you how tight it is against that centre console. I tried to get everything in there. I couldn't fit anything. It's also a Torx bit that needs to go in. And the seat's stuck in that position. You can't do anything. So I gave up. So here's a seat tilted back. The back 2 rivets are still in place. The spring you can see that holds the mechanism together, just get some nose pliers and pull it out. Dead easy. That holds it together. I think that's what's happened on mine, is it slipped, and one of those bolts has stayed down. Now you'll see the mechanism working now, and there's some fingers that sit around the collars of these bolts and lift them up, so when you adjust the seat, dead straightforward. What's happened on mine is one of them dropped between the fingers and stayed below, so the seat wouldn't move either way. I couldn't get access to the bolts to remove the chair or anything. And it's catch-22 really. And you can see I'm trying to show you there that it was as simple as just a small flat screwdriver, just to reach in while I got the mechanism raised and lift that bolt up. That spring you're going to remove from the mechanism will hold it back in place, and I don't know why it didn't hold in the first place, but it didn't, and so it caused me a load of aggro. If you release that, I just greased it up, it's working perfectly. You can see on those rivets that I removed, there are about 8mm on the floor pan and slightly less on the actual seat, and that gives it a bit of flexibility so it can move independently when you raise and lower the seat. So I've put a washer in between there. I haven't on that picture, but I realised after, and I just popped a washer back in there. Again, bolts front and back, tight as you like, as long as the seat isn't struggling to go up and down. And bear in mind with those bolts, I've put 8mm in, you could go 10, but it's a safety element because in a crash you don't want those shearing. What I've put in are thicker than the original ones anyway, but just be careful, and good luck.